All right, and I'm Steve Rondina. We're here for this week in Dota 2. It's a very loose name, not necessarily accurate to how frequently we're here. Here with MTarget, caster, streamer, etc. I'm Steve Rondina from BleacherReport.com's MMA and esports sections. We're going to talk about a variety of things, but primarily the Kiev Major. The group stages start off in a couple days. Monday, right?
4. So yeah, that would be Monday.
Yeah. Time difference since we're in North America and they're in Kiev. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So it's going to be a couple late nights probably.
Early mornings.
Early mornings, late. Well, for me, late nights. For you, early mornings. But it's good Dota 2 action. We haven't had much of that in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've had some online stuff, and there's actually been some complaints on Twitter about that.
Yeah.
AC, and it's not so much a complaint as just a recollection, because AC was talking about back TI2, TI3 era, the top tier teams played in all the online tournaments, and so they played a lot, and they got a lot of a lot of storyline and everything else, which is great, and I love it. But then more recently, that a lot of online play has been relegated to the tier 2 teams or the tier 1.5s.
Yeah.
So you're not getting as much storyline building between majors, which, whether it's good or bad or both, is something that the Dota community is going to have to figure out over the next.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that in Counter-Strike primarily.
Yeah, CS burned hard.
It's burned the candle from both ends.
Yep. And
it's burning twice as bright, but it's burning half as long. But I enjoy it. I enjoy watching it. So.
Yep.
But there are definitely some market corrections incoming, and Dota 2 is probably going to feel that as well in time. But anyway, that's a bigger topic for a different podcast. Right now, we've got a big tournament on our hands. But before we jump into that, we've had what's it been, like a month or so since we did one of these? 2 months?
It's been a while.
A lot of shit's happened. We're just
gonna cover the recent stuff.
Yeah, we're just gonna Even though Valve has been trying to give teams more incentive to stay together in the last couple of years, they're not doing it. And whether it's team breakups, team shufflings, or the players saying see you to their teams, to their organizations, we've seen a lot of movement. And even though we've got, once again, a major in just a couple days, the last few weeks.
That's my biggest issue right here is the fact that so many of these changes happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so it's not just like, oh, okay, like, former Odd Phenom, because they left Odd Phenom long enough ago that we kind of knew they were going to get reinvited. Actually, I think they had been invited at that point.
Yeah.
But
they're on the short list.
Yeah, qualifiers hadn't happened, etc. So okay, fine. They dropped again. They get picked up by Mouse Sports because you want to have a sponsor, obviously, because they help with boot camps and stuff. And Mouse Sports is not a bad org.
No,
they've had some issues and other things from time to time, but at the core, I like Mouse Sports as an org.
Yeah, they've been around forever. They've been in pretty much every game. They've been in and out of Dota 2 for years now.
Yeah. But I mean, so that one is pushing it for me. Okay, that's fine, kind of getting things set up, whatever. But then you get, the more recent stuff, and it's like, y'all see what time it is, right? You're making Valve work extra hard here. Stop it. Oh, now my watch is freaking out.
Yeah. You let me don't wear a watch.
So, do you want to do NA or Wings first?
Well, Wings is much more topical, though they're now really X-Wings, but which sounds way cooler than the car name. X-Wing, get that Star Wars tie-in. But Wings is no longer Wings.
Nope, which is unfortunate because.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand it, and this is still developing. So Wings Gaming, the Chinese Dota 2 or Chinese esports organization.
That only has a Dota 2 team.
That only has a Dota 2 team for now, but not anymore. Basically sold to some Why? What happened?
Yeah. So depending on who you listen to, the organization sold itself to another investor.
Yeah, that's
yeah. But it's not like they sold the players to somebody else. It was Wings as a brand, shuffling some things. Whether or not that, quite frankly, I haven't seen an official statement yet. I've seen a bunch of like half official statements, so I'm still taking everything with a grain of salt.
Which of course also have to go through the less than reliable translations from random folks online.
Yeah, Liquid had a decent translation, but it was a translation from a media officer who was sharing something off the record because she was tired of seeing speculation.
Yeah, so, it's a mess. Is long story short. It is a mess.
But the super short version is that the players may or may not have lost some money somewhere along the way. There may have been some confusion about how much they were supposed to get out of the cut.
Yeah.
Again, like players and orgs, you need to have this in your contracts, and it's possible they did. But the players said, forget this, we're out. And the players left. Yeah, apparently, it's been a couple months coming, but they did it with a week until the major.
Yes, and Wings Gaming is now Team Random.
Because they are required to have a logo per Valve rules, and so they just said, call us Team Random, and they gave Valve it's a very nicely stylized question mark, but it's just a question mark.
Yeah, I like it. I like the idea. But yeah, this is business for the off season, not the immediately before season.
Yeah, I mean, like this is for what you do right after Kiev or before, or you do this, 2 months ago. And again, if they've been trying to, I get it, and we'll, if we hopefully have another one of these episodes in a week or two, we'll bring you all.
Yeah, ideally talking,
more players. Jack KBBQ. He tweeted that the players will be posting on their Weibos today.
Yes.
Last night that they will be. We'll be posting their sides of the story, but I haven't seen it yet, nor have I seen translations. So
yeah, the long story short on this is it's just kind of the latest example of the issues created by the kind of weird semi-non-existent but semi-existent relationship between Valve and actual esports organizations.
Yeah.
League of Legends and also to a degree or the entire LCS and also stuff like E-League and other major organizations kind of have that continuity between the teams and the publishers and other organizers by having like an ownership stake of the league itself, which is that is fundamentally what makes a league rather than a
that's also not a Dota thing. That's something that you would see more in League or Vainglory, who's actually doing it. A couple of the Counter-Strike leagues have tap danced around whether or not they're actually doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, this is a discussion for another time, but there's a great deal of there's a discussion to be had about the role of an ownership stake in a larger league and what that adds to both the teams and the players in terms of having that continuity, and also fans, viewers having the continuity of this team being able to go from here to here year over year and not having the Cloud9s, the Mouse Sports, the all those other kinds of organizations that bounce in and out of Dota 2 because there isn't really any tangible asset that they own to keep them
and I was going to say with Cloud9 their previous iteration before this one, they really held on to that team for not too long, but they tried to hold on, and that team just crumbled.
They tried to make it work.
They tried, and credit to them. But I also have to note that they said, okay, we lost our team. We're not going to go buy another one. We're going to walk away for now, which is quite frankly what a lot of orgs need to do more often in Dota, where an org scrambles and buys something else, and next thing you know, they've got a PR problem on their hand. There may or may not be some orgs that are falling into that right now, but again, for another day.
And speaking of orgs that are falling into things, pretty much between our last discussion and today, nothing involving Digital Chaos seems to actually be still in place.
No, Digital Chaos's owner is still the same. Well, half of their owner is the same.
Yeah, I was about to say, Sunsfan's gone.
Sunsfan and Sajidine are gone. They were he was a part owner. She was involved. I don't remember how exactly.
I know that,
but then the other guy was I forget, Tom, I think is his name. Tom or Ted. I know it's a team name.
Most of my interactions with the team were through Sajidine, because she like all the PR stuff I did was through her.
Yeah, that's because that's what she did. That was her job. And she did a really good job with it too.
Yeah, for sure.
So rumors when they left was that there was either a buyout coming, either another brand or some big investment firm was going to come in and drop a lot of money, and they were going to lose control or whatever. Rumors, again, these are all massive speculation rumors, like tiniest bit of maybe true here.
Yeah, they haven't actually, to cut you off, sorry to cut you off, but they haven't actually like officially said what was the reason yet, right?
Yeah, no, they said that they're going to go work on other things.
Yeah, they kept it very vague.
Yeah, very, very vague. And maybe it's possible that that Suns fan and Sajidine are gonna go work on something where they can't be owners. They can't be connected to any team for conflict of interest rules. So you never know. But what then happens?
There's always, if they still had any kind of value when they were getting bought out, if it is a buyout, because we don't know, there would possibly be non-compete agreements in there. I know whenever you see a team or an organization or a promotion in sports bought out, you usually see because like for example, the UFC bought out Strikeforce back in 2011. Scott Coker was the promoter at the time. He was the president of the company and founder, and when they bought him out, he got attached to a non-compete agreement, which kept him off the job market for a few years. And within a couple of weeks after that ran out, he signed up with Bellator MMA, the UFC's current top rival. So they may or may not be in the public sphere in a team sense for a time.
We'll see. But anyways, the second more important thing is that maybe a week after that happened, because this was a couple weeks ago at this point, week or two after this happened, Digital Chaos at the time, Misery, etc., announced that they would be leaving the organization, and everybody was going with them. This wasn't like a couple players were leaving and stranding the org. This was, we're all gone. And all five were going to go be Thunderbirds. Okay, cool. And they also picked up Eternal Envy as their coach.
Yes,
because he's not attached to a team that's playing. For Kiev Major, he is their coach, which is a fairly common practice to see people who almost made the cut for TI or for another major on a good team, to see them splinter for the major, coach, commentate, and then come back together afterward. We see it with Brax a lot. We see it with
and we saw it with Aoi for Secret.
Aoi.
MSS, I think.
MSS, has done it. SVG has done it.
Basically, all of Team NP.
All of Team NP has done stuff.
Has coached for somebody at some point.
Yeah, but within the hour of them announcing that they had left Digital Chaos announced that they had picked up Team Onyx, who had also qualified for Kiev. So Digital Chaos is still going to Kiev, but it's not going to be Misery's Digital Chaos, nor is it going to be Suns fans' Digital Chaos. So I don't know, is it really Digital Chaos anymore? The answer is yes, it is. But I mean, and I'm still be rooting for DC because I like Moon, I like Abed. So I think I'll be rooting for them a little bit, just not quite as hard as I would have been for Weeha and Misery.
It's something. It's an odd thing.
And it was so crazy because it happened so fast.
Yeah, it was, and you knew something was up once Suns fan and Sajidine said that they were going off somewhere to do something. You knew that something was up, and it wasn't especially shocking when Misery and Company headed off. Which should be their team name, by the way.
Misery and Co. Misery Business. Let's just go full.
Maybe
full trademark.
I know the tautology is Misery Loves Company.
Fair.
So, a good one. But Misery Business. I like that song. So.
Yeah, but as far as Thunderbirds are concerned,
good team,
couple analysts have announced or have commented that because Thunderbirds are looking for a sponsor, to get picked up by an org here, that they're going to be super hungry at Kiev.
Oh yeah,
because
they have a lot on the line here.
Yeah, because you've got, the payout from Kiev as well as then advertising yourselves. You don't want to say, yeah, we got a 13th out of 16 at Kiev Major.
Yeah, granted, theoretically their value would be the same regardless, because this is a team that pretty more or less the team that won second place at the international last year and won ESL, won Genting, and has placed well in other tournaments. But got to show, if you're talking to investors, they want, this is esports, and esports is technically sports, and sports is a what have you done for me lately business.
That's how it works.
It is. And they have a lot on their plate in terms of this is already a high stakes event, and now it's for them incredibly high stakes, and
especially getting ready to go into TI season, because you take top 6, top 4, top 5 even, but I mean especially top 3 at Kiev, you're looking really good for a direct invite to TI. And talk about a major marketing point right there. You could probably walk into TSM and go, hey, we know you hate Dota, but look at this. Give me my money. Okay, probably not, because TSM is very much focusing on.
TSM has other things going on.
But they've got options, and they've got money options.
Oh yeah, and I mean, again, we see larger esports organizations bounce in and out of Dota 2. We could see hypothetically Team Liquid, and there's no reason to actually say this, but let's say that they want to have another team. Let's say pick up a second one. Yeah, let's say they just the price is right for Team Liquid to double up on Dota 2 business. If they have a direct invite in their primary Kurokai-led Kuroki, depending on how you pronounce it, if that team isn't necessarily as cemented, that Thunderbirds group, if they take a top 4 finish at Kiev Major, is looking really good right now. And I mean, of course, there are all the other organizations that have never even touched eSport or touched Dota 2 that are looking to get a team, possibly like the North.
Actually, that's got Malk, so yeah, I can see that.
That's got Malk as their.
I think Echo Fox and Energy are looking too. I think they're both looking for this season because they both want to build that brand fast and hard.
Misfits potentially. I mean, there are so many possibilities there.
That's true. Yeah, they got that Miami Heat money now.
And they got the Miami Heat money now, and and who does Jonas Jerebko own?
Oh,
is that Misfits?
No, was that Fnatic?
No, I don't think so.
Who is Jonas? What is he?
He's a Boston Celtic.
Yeah. They just bought Fnatic, or invested in Fnatic.
No, Renegades.
Was it Renegades?
Yep. I just
Googled it. Player. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're trying to trick me.
No. Because you said Celtics. The owner of the Celtics, he's a part owner of the Celtics and the Houston Astros. Just invested heavily into Fnatic. Because a lot of people were joking about wanting to see a Splice versus Fnatic game in Boston at the Garden, because Splice is now owned by the Bruins owner. Well, not owned, but invested in by Delaware North, which owns TD Garden and the Bruins. Yeah. So it would be cool to see this like home versus home game.
Which, of course, is relevant to our interests, even though we're both New England boys. Well, me totally. You, I think, mostly.
I'm in New England now. I'm an adopted New England boy.
Yeah. So relevant to our interest on multiple levels. But anyway, Thunderbirds. They have a lot on the line. This is a stressful tournament for them.
It's a good team too, so it's not like.
I mean, God knows that they are capable of living up to a challenge. We saw that last year at the International. So that's going to be a sexy underdog pick on qualitative data alone. On qualitative data alone, they're looking like a sexy team to get into right now. But anyway, so Team Onyx is now Digital Chaos. To summarize, Team Onyx is now Digital Chaos. Team Digital Chaos is now the Thunderbirds. Wings Gaming is now Team Random.
Yep, and I am looking for, here it is. Dat Dota recently back up and running, and Knoxville. Ben Steenhuisen, I can't pronounce his last name. I apologize. It's South African. Anyways, they just did. He did a Sim Kiev, and he ran the the odds on everything. They simulated it a bunch. 31.99% of the time has OG winning, followed by 21.96 IG, 13.11 for Liquid, then Newbie, EG, VP, Faceless, Secret, Thunderbirds, TNC, VGJ. Random is very low on that list. IGV, Mouse, DC, and SG. Now, this is this is predictive modeling. This is not, you're looking at Swiss. You're looking at into Swiss format, into a single elimination. In single elim, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And it's just nuts. And I just sent you the link to this article.
I'll pull it up.
So, yeah, just so if you wanted to look at what's there. But I mean, outside of predictions of a couple of the weaker teams landing towards the bottom, especially in that middle section between like 3rd and like 10th, that could all be shuffled. Maybe not massively, but enough. Just because all it takes is one team losing one game at the wrong time, and all of a sudden you go from having Liquid playing Mouse in round 1 to having Liquid playing OG round 1.
And of course, this is still in single elimination. A lot of it relies on what your bracket ends up looking like. Adfinem hasn't looked especially great, and a strong case can be made that if they're not playing a relatively soft, shaken up LGD Forever Young and a Digital Chaos that hasn't been, now Thunderbirds that hasn't been especially strong of late. If they were on the other side of the bracket playing against EG and OG and an at the time really hot Virtus Pro, maybe they didn't make second place and maybe they're not invited to this tournament.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But
yeah, so there's a lot of the pure standings don't necessarily count for all that much in these situations. But
I mean, personally, I think I agree 100% with OG winning. They
are phenomenal at winning majors regardless of who's on that team.
Yeah, no, they're most likely. And if you look at again the predictive model, it has them at 31%, call it 32 for winning, followed by 15% for runner up, and then 20th for 3rd, 4th. So the prediction here is that they either win it or something happens in semifinals.
Yeah.
So and that's a very reasonable assumption to make for a team that has won 3 out of 4 majors.
Yeah.
So I was about to say everyone, but that's not right. And I mean,
Not
OG
quite,
shows up, especially in Europe, on land. So you're really hard to vote against them. IG, sure, they're coming strong off of DAC, but every time that we go, IG is doing really good before they come into an event, they trip.
Not only that, but just in general, I mean, before the Boston Major, how hot was Virtus Pro looking?
Then that's the nature of the single elimination bracket.
And not only that, but the major meta.
Yeah, the major meta. And especially 7.05 this is going to be the first major with shrines.
Yep, and you have always had pocket strats before.
Yep.
But this is the first 7.00 major.
Yeah, we're gonna have some crazy stuff.
You're gonna see a lot of
heroes like Visage picked. Expect to see, the occasional Alk pick still. Look for Naga strats, Meepo. And again, those are. I mean, you're not gonna see an IG Meepo very likely, but you will probably see a DC Meepo. You could maybe see an EG Meepo. You could see a Thunderbirds Weepo. I mean, that Kiev's gonna explode if you see Weehaw on Meepo.
Yeah, I mean, there is a you're going to see some weird stuff. I don't think it's. I am looking forward to it as well, but I don't think it's going to be as just completely bananas as the international was last year.
Yeah,
in terms of every character being selected and every kind of strategy imaginable, having some kind of time in the sun.
It'll be close.
It's going to be an entertaining and I imagine a very non-homogenized experience, like some of the past internationals, for example.
I definitely could see Swiss developing its own meta and then main stage developing a slightly different meta, just because people will be going, okay, what counters what happened in Swiss? Okay, we'll do this now. I mean, everybody is so much smarter when it comes to drafting than we were. Maybe not so much a year ago, just because that year ago is coming up on TI6, and TI6 was insane for drafting. But certainly TI5 era and before, drafting was fairly standard. And I don't know if that's because of the meta or because of the captains and the coaches and everything else. But people are getting good at it.
Yeah, you see a lot more consistency in terms of creativity, which is weird to say, but you're seeing a lot more inconsistency in terms of team-to-team strategy and just drafting.
Well, variance, but not even necessarily inconsistency. But yeah. And I look, it's awesome
in comparison to TI2, Chinese 4 Protect 1 thing, TI3 Jungle Like Hell Alliance, etc.
6-8 was it 683 or 684 that was sniper meta?
I have no idea, but that's dead. That's dead now.
Actually, well, it's sort of dead because snipers I guess most popular in tier 1.5. So a lot of almost tier 1 teams are picking them up for that full Protect 1 comp being pretty good right now.
It's fun stuff coming up. But so let's quickly go over the teams we got. Actually, let's look over the teams that were actually invited straight up. Okay. How funny is looking over that group now? In terms of how things have shaken out since.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up like.
I can go over it.
List. Yeah. Okay. I got it. We're good. Yep.
Team random makes sense, and you usually get that flexibility.
It makes sense in they're the TI winners. Invite them.
Yes.
They're not looking hot right now. Maybe they can pull something out, but yeah, OG obviously they won last time.
Adfinem.
Adfinem / Mouse Sports. Again, they took second at Boston Major, whether it was a fluke or not. They did it, so give it to them.
Not really looked especially strong, I would say, in the.
From what I've heard, their scrims have been doing okay, but online and on LAN, well, what online and on LAN they've competed in has not looked good.
Yes. We'll see if Lightning strikes twice. Team Liquid.
I think they look good. I understand that a lot of people don't, but I think that they continually make a solid argument for top 4. Again, I think this is one of those teams that is top 4 or top 12 because of just how the single elimination could happen and how it could fall. And if somebody can figure out how to stop Miracle, Matamba, and No Tail, I mean, you got to figure out how to stop one of them because there's at each game, one of those 3 is the guy that is the problem.
Yep.
And so if one team can shut those guys down in a best of 3, you're done.
Yep. So. And Evil Geniuses, no surprise there. Newbie, not really a surprise. But Vici Gaming J, Thunderbirds. It's funny in terms of how, long story short in this is last couple of months have been kind of the Dota 2 championship or the Asia championship. It's kind of changed how that Chinese scene looks a lot in my mind at least.
Well, before DAC, there was one other event, because it was right before the invites came out, and I forget what the event was, but VGJ and Thunderbirds, then Digital Chaos, both had pretty good showings. VGJ,
Star Series.
Yeah, that's right, Star Series in China.
Yeah.
VGJ did very well, Thunderbirds did pretty good, and so at the invite time, it made a lot of sense. Right now, VGJ having a hard time at DAC, Thunderbirds, again, we've talked about the redemption story 2 or 3 times now, but I think it's the invites outside of, I mean, each one makes sense. Though you can obviously argue now why teams shouldn't have been invited.
If you're picking who gets invited now, you're picking who are your top 8 teams entering this event right now, looking pretty different, at least for me.
Yes and no. I mean, probably VGJ falls out. Thunderbirds maybe. Actually, at this point, Thunderbirds and VGJ come off that list for me. Newbie maybe as well for one of the Invictuses, although maybe they take that VGJ slot.
I mean, both of the IGs I'm really liking.
Yeah. But again, nothing has changed between then and now for why Team Random / Wings Gaming and why Mouse Sports got invited. Both of those teams were invited based on their results at previous Valve events, and there haven't been any Valve events since then to change it. There hasn't been another TI, and there hasn't been another major, so those two slots are kind of, unfortunately or fortunately, locked in. Valve has said this is the Valve circuit. Taking top 2 at the previous major guarantees you, implied, and taking TI guarantees you for a year, which I really like. I like the fact that Valve has said TI guarantees you for a year. It makes that TI win so much more important. And obviously you want to try and repeat, but repeating is really hard. And I think Valve knows that, and Valve likes trying to build that story.
Yeah.
They won and they were amazing and dominant, but they've had such an awful year. Can they come back in the hour that means the most?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, speaking of, we previously discussed how you can so frequently see things shaken up in terms of both teams and players and organizations. Having that kind of continuity is important. I mean, we talked about the value of having that kind of, these guys are here in this formation for an extended period of time. Having a TI winner is the one way you get that. And we're seeing that with Wings Gaming / Team Random.
And Team OG as well for the consistency.
And Team OG.
OG, boom, boom, boom for majors. They fell, but are they coming back? And that was the storyline at Boston. Was, can OG become the first to three-peat, or will Odd Phenom become the biggest underdog story of, 2016?
More or less.
I mean, if they had won, I'm pretty sure that would have been the biggest underdog story of 2016.
DC?
Ooh. If DC had won TI, then yeah, definitely no chance there. But taking second, I mean, they did a great job. Don't get me wrong, but winning,
anyway, this is very tangential. And that's on me. But anyway, so we have a pretty good lineup of teams, even though I'm complaining a little bit. I miss Team NP not being there as Team NP. Again, they're showing up. A few of them are showing up in their own ways.
Yep.
But going to be a very good week or so of Dota 2.
Definitely. It's going to be good stuff.
So, obviously, we don't know how the brackets are shaking out. We don't know how the group stages are necessarily going to shake out either. But your favorite, gun to your head, again, OG, right?
OG. Like, you told me to pick any other team, and no, it's OG is my best pick to win it, and I think they'll do so very cleanly. There's some chance for maybe some, spoiler, but I really think that number one is OG. Everything after that is where it gets hazy, but OG for having a favorite to win it is just, how do you not pick OG right now?
And I absolutely agree. There is kind of like a weird just idea of OG in a major. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, not everybody's going to understand this reference, but it's like the Undertaker WrestleMania. It's going to be like Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's if there's a situation where this in particular group, even though it's not necessarily the same group that was there last year, but this name at this place has a lot of value. Yeah. And OG at a major, it's looking pretty good. And not only that, but their performances have been good. Like, it's not like, it's not like Wings Gaming / Team Random where they've kind of dipped a bit. They took second place at the pit. They took second place at the Asia Championships. They're performing well. And if, we're discussing pocket strats, if they have a pocket strat that they think is good, on top of their ability to step up in those situations, I would agree with you that that OG is the slam dunk favorite. No question.
Yeah, and I'm checking because so OG took 9th to 12th in the international. They lost TNC in an insane series.
Yeah.
And there was the Manila Major 2016 that they won. There was the Frankfurt Major 2015 that they won. There was the Boston Major that they won. What was the other major?
Shanghai.
Did they not go to Shanghai?
I don't remember, Secret won. Liquid came in second.
Yeah, I remember
No,
that.
they were there.
Shanghai was just a mess.
Yeah, they washed out. I got it up now. They washed out lower bracket round 3 to Fnatic.
Oh, so they just it doesn't just it's such a bad showing that they just didn't get on the list pretty much.
Yeah, which is kind of silly, but there it is. Either way, phenomenal team.
Yeah, definitely. And considering how much of a cluster Shanghai was,
yeah,
you can kind of say, okay, OG, you messed up here, reset. I think that's what they did. They said, we messed up, we lost hard, fix it, go back.
Yep, and they did. All right, and I'm going to pull up real quick the list of compendium predictions so we can have a more defined list of things that people might be interested in listening to.
All right, I'm going to launch my Dota to pull up my compendium predictions.
I'm not sure my computer would necessarily be able to handle that.
That's
but
fair.
I'll let you go down the list alongside my list.
Yep.
Yeah, again, our winners, slam dunk, no question. OG.
Yep, OG.
All right, hero predictions. Do you actually want to go to that nitty gritty?
That's up to you. I'm fine doing them. I've done some cheating and listened to several people that do more stats work than I do for my opinions. But
let's stick with just teams then. We don't want to have this go too long. Okay. But I'm with you, firm OG pick. Team with most kills in a game.
In a single game, I've got OG. I think that there's going to be one game where they just slaughter some team. And again, it's going to be one game that goes long and they have to get a bunch of kills. Yeah, Liquid and IG both, though, I could see being there as well.
Yeah, I know. Like you said, it's ultimately a game that ends up being just a slog and a meat grinder.
Yep.
You're going to get a 60-minute game. A lot of, with how the 7.0 patch as a whole has shaken out thus far, we see a lot of 20-minute games, or we see a lot of 60-minute games, generally speaking.
Yep.
You're going to get a 60-minute game, and it's going to be a meat grinder. And you're going to see one team get like 60 kills.
Yep.
And in terms of guys who can gut out those kind of situations, OG are both capable of putting themselves into that position and then getting themselves out of that position.
Yep.
Highest kill average, and that pick kind of goes hand in hand, at least with me, with whoever you have winning. And OG.
I've got Virtus Pro here.
Really?
Because again, it's the average. I think that in the games that Virtus Pro plays, no matter where they end up placing, they're a high kill team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to go reasonably far. And so if they get a bunch of kills in the games that they win, and even a bunch of kills in the games that they lose, Virtus Pro will just take that. They'll go and, they may lose, but, in that game with OG that they're playing against each other, goes 75 minutes and each team has 50 deaths.
Yep.
And it's just a slog. And Virtus Pro just does that. They're a very aggressive composition all the time.
Yeah, and next one, team with the fewest deaths in a game, I have VP.
I have OG. So I think again, OG in that one game.
Yep.
All they need is that one. That they just perfect 1, 2, and they play safe.
And sometimes. I'm in the same boat as you for that rationale. I just imagine, apply the logic you had for your highest kill.
My highest kill average and apply it to Virtus Pro.
Yeah,
no, I see that.
There's going to be some kind of like 20-3 kill death route. ROUT route that's going to happen. And I think that VP, hypothetically anybody can fill that spot.
Yep.
But I think the odds are in favor of VP. Team with the most assists in a game.
I've got IG. They're team fight oriented.
I agree with that.
Also, they play Spectre, and so Spectre ult. Congratulations, you got an assist. Alt,
yeah, pretty much.
You got an assist. So.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, technically, correct me if I'm wrong. The most bullshit assist hero in the game is probably Necro.
Well, no, because Necro steals a lot of kills with his ult, but he can also, just by being in the area,
the other Radiance heroes can also get it, but
Abaddon,
but
Nago.
I would go with you could go with a couple different Chinese teams here, more team fighter, but safest bet I would agree with you, IG. Yep. Team with the longest game, or team that wins the longest game.
I've got OG. Again, we just they're gonna have some slog fest.
Yep.
Probably with like Liquid or IG or Evil Geniuses, and it's gonna go long, and they're just gonna edge it out.
Yeah, and like I said, long story short on OG is that they can put themselves into a bad position. They might get a little bit over aggressive at points, and then they will dig themselves out of that hole.
Yeah.
Team that wins the shortest game.
I'm gonna go off target here a little bit. It's not gonna be OG here. I've got Team Liquid.
Okay.
So I'm gonna explain my next pick as well for highest game length, because I have highest average game length is Liquid as well, because Liquid likes their 45 to 50-minute games. They shoot for that endpoint. But if they get a team that gives them an opening at 15 to 20 minutes, they'll take it and they'll lend it. So I've got Liquid in 20 to 25 for shortest game one.
Yeah,
but then for highest average game length, I have Liquid as well, because they do like playing those heroes that crest a little bit better. Or they'll also make you drag it out and win it. Because again, it's not the highest game length average for wins, it's average period.
Yeah. So, and I like your rationale for both.
Yep.
I would differ in the pick. I would say OG for shortest, or a team that wins the shortest game.
Yep.
Like you said, if they see a shot, they will take it.
Yeah.
And that puts themselves in a position for a lot of 15-minute wins.
Yeah.
And team with the highest game length average, you can go in a bunch of different directions with this. I'll agree with you. Team that picks the most different heroes.
EG. They're gonna go deep enough to have a bunch of different games.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've got Zai, Crit, Sumail. I mean, literally every person on that team has the smallest pool is probably either Crit or Universe, and neither of them have small hero pools.
Yeah, so, theoretically, that goes hand in hand with teams that you expect to go far.
Yeah.
And, Wings Gaming loves to do all sorts of crazy stuff historically. Sure. But I don't expect them to necessarily go deep enough in the tournament to have that. Even if they go absolutely nuts in the first couple rounds, that's going to be it. Probably. Yeah. Again, single elimination. We might see Wings make a run for it and reestablish themselves as they might pull an OG on us.
Yeah.
But
we'll see.
I would go with either. I think EG is probably the best in that regard. You could also see
again just a few more than OG, but OG and Liquid are right there with them.
It ultimately depends on how that shakes out. I would go with either EG or OG, probably EG. We'll see how that goes. But my pick would be either. Right now, it would be EG, but I'd probably go OG. I might go OG tomorrow.
Yeah. Funnily enough, team that picks the fewest different heroes, parens, minimum 10 games played. So you want a team that's either going to go medium length or go all the way with small hero pools.
Yes.
And so in this case, I've got Invictus Gaming picked. Even though I think they're going to take second, IG 1 DAC only picking 30 heroes.
Yep.
So they have each player has a reasonable hero pool, but if they are allowed to take what they want, it's a very, very tight, focused line of what they want to do the same thing, nothing else. They don't have a bunch of different weird strategies like teams, OG, Evil Geniuses, who will try different ways to get to the same end result.
Yeah. When I do this pick, and your justification is entirely valid, it's a strong pick, I look solely for which team do I think is going to make it to the second round, or maybe the third round, and then go far enough to get those 10 games and then drop out. And then I cross my fingers. I cross my fingers and hope it's that team.
It's 750 points. It's not that much.
I would take VG Gaming J for that.
Okay.
That is a team I think can, depending on who they end up against, because again, they might end up against OG in the first round and get just thrashed, or they might end up.
VGJ is the team that gives OG problems, so just remember that.
That's true, but as an example,
Yeah.
you know, they might end up coming up against one of the whoever wins it in the first round and get that nice 16th place paycheck. But I expect them to win one or two and lose. And again, I'll have my fingers crossed that they end up being the team to coincidentally
watch like Swiss go through and have VGJ pick like the most heroes just in Swiss alone.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Jeremy Lin might give him a call, be like, "Hey guys, I am really feeling I don't know, Crystal Maiden Ursa. It just calls up every game, gives like those 2K pub level strats. Crystal Maiden Ursa, you know.
But 2K pub level strats could be what's needed.
I mean, you know, Sand King Omni might be the meta. Might be the meta.
Ugh.
That Burrow Strike Purification.
Yeah.
And that's my go-to.
That's nasty.
And some nice Keeper of the Light with Phantom Lancer or something like that.
Oh, ew. Oh, that's nasty.
I invented it, just saying. Yeah. Anyway, back when everybody was maxing Illumination first, I was going with the max mana Chakra Magic.
Yep.
Pumping up my carry, spraying whatever spammable spell they got. Anyway, so I'm going to skip forward to player predictions.
Okay.
If you're down for that.
Yeah. This is a lot of darts.
Yeah, this is always a crapshoot.
Yep.
But we could just go more vague. What player do you think is going to go? Yeah, drop the predictions for the compendium now. What player do you think is going to really kind of be kind of the MVP of the tournament?
I've got a couple, kind of depending on different scenarios. If EG show up and actually win it, probably either Zai or Sumail.
Yeah, Sumail, just in general, always going to be the safe pick. He's just if you're saying who's the best player,
he's good.
He's on the short list in my book.
Yeah, if Liquid goes off, I've got No Tail or Miracle. If OG win, probably just going to go with Jirax because Jirax assists set up his team so much.
Yeah.
And then if for some reason, excuse me, we see, is it IG? I think Burning. Yeah, for IG for Invictus Gaming. If IG goes off, Burning. You know, just MVP. So those are my sort of 3 or 4.
The safest bet, again, OG. Like you said, Jirax, and Jirax is just so good.
Yeah.
Just so good. But
I mean, I'm not taking anything away from No Tail or S4.
No, for sure. But he is the central cog in that machine.
Yeah, he's the guy that sets it all up. I'm sure there's a good NBA example of a guy that just, you know, sets it up, then passes the ball off to somebody to get the points.
And late 90s hockey example would be Joe Thornton.
Yeah.
But I am going to go a little bit deeper. My dark horse to win the tournament is Thunderbirds / old XDC. As we discussed, they are a team that lives up to, you know, when the pressure's on, they up their game as a result.
Yep.
They are the diamond to the dust of other teams. And I think
I like Thunderbirds. Don't get me wrong.
I do. I know, but I think that this might be the tournament where Weehaw finally starts getting the respect he deserves. I think that 2016 was a year that he really kind of reinvented himself. Went from a pretty good player in the early early DC to being, I think, one of the best players on the whole, like the best pound for pound players in the world.
Yeah.
He kind of gets forgotten because the star of that team is Misery, and
True.
the star when they were going through the international was Moo.
Yeah.
And I think that the Kiev Major is where we're going to see him kind of not necessarily shove Misery out of the top spot of marketability, but I think that this is going to be the spot where he really shows how good he is capable of being. And I do think that Thunderbirds are capable of a very late run, and I think he's going to be the MVP of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
And do we know if they're going to reinvent themselves in a little bit of a tangent as a European team?
I think that's the implication that I got, was that they were sort of moving back to Europe. Again, that's what I kind of imply here, whatever, but I like the idea of that.
Yeah, what was the there was a tournament that had a bunch of different little segments with the players between games, and they kind of joked about, they did like an American history test on Digital Chaos. I forget what tournament that was, but
I don't remember, but I remember that. I don't remember who did it. It wasn't Summit, was it?
Might have been.
Because I remember Summit where they did the applying for Chinese visas, and Black couldn't get in to save his life, and EE walks up and they're just like, Agent 3154, and it's like, so strong. Oh
yeah, but anyway, I am feeling Thunderbirds to a degree.
Okay.
And like I said, I think Weehaw is going to be, if they do make a run, Weehaw is going to be the guy.
I can agree with that.
And I hope he gets recognized for it.
Me too.
What team? This is another off the top of my dome type of question. What team do you think is going to make like a really, like, I'm talking a real dark horse run? Like, I'm talking like none of the teams that were direct invited. I'm talking about the qualifiers that we don't really care about. Which team is most capable of getting a couple wins?
Faceless, Digital Chaos. I mean, IG technically, because they didn't get on a direct invite, but Digital Chaos and Faceless are the two.
Pick that I would say that's cheating.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like Digital Chaos, like Onyx, if you let Abed take Meepo, you're done. So, Faceless, I want to see do well. I want to see Black, Jabs, Ice, XY Nuts, Winter. Like, Winter's their coach, but I've been a fan of all those guys for a while. I go back and forth on whether or not I really like Ice, but his playstyle's fun to watch.
It is.
So he gets that.
And he's also got that veteran appeal, at least with me.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
Exactly. Well, Digital Chaos, Mason, Mr. Old Man Evil Geniuses, kind of. Abed, Bulba, Dubu, Demon. Like, that's not a bad roster. So it's just one that, other than the fact that, Demon got locked in a stairwell today.
Did he?
Yeah, briefly. Was it him or... Yeah, I think it was him that got stuck in a... Yeah. So it's funny because, like, the people are just having, like... I mean, they're minor things, but it's funny. Just across the board on several teams. I think Moon Meander got stuck in one as well. Awesome. Yeah. Doors, how do they work?
Not well.
Apparently.
Not well. But yeah, I've chronically underrated Onyx. I thought they were going to be a fun novelty team, given that they have all the NA veterans. They're like the Expendables, basically, of Dota 2.
Yeah.
But man, when we were previewing the Kiev Major Open qualifiers, I did not, or the Kiev Major qualifiers, excuse me. I did not give them a shot. I thought that was either Team NP or Complexity were going to get hot at the right time. And
I agreed. I just had them at third, not, I think you had them at fifth. So,
yeah, something like that.
I just thought they were just going to get edged out by one of the two. And then they showed up at the right time and Complexity made some awful drafting decisions, quite frankly.
They sure did.
And again, I like Complexity. I think that they're almost there, but the problem is that they've been almost there for over a year now, where they keep almost getting it right, and then something falls apart.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm sure that they're aware of that. I'm not trying to call them out, but
no. I mean,
just the way that it is.
That's the scoreboard results.
Yeah, so somebody has to be there. Somebody has to be the almost, but not.
Yeah, I mean that's part of sports.
Yep. Evil Geniuses used to be there, so
you're always going to have those Buffalo Bills in the '90s, well, the '80s and '90s. You're like, and yeah, like you said, EG was there for a long time. You guys just got to get over that hump, and we'll see if they will in the future. But they didn't here, and I thought they were gonna, or thought they had a good chance of doing so. But anyway, team that you think is really gonna flop. Like, I mean, obviously, a single elimination. I think we let me pull up the Boston Major results, because God knows that we saw a lot of teams. We saw Newbie wash out in the first round.
I think out of the invited teams, Mouse Sports, Team Random, and Newbie are going to be the three worst out of the invited teams.
Okay.
Out of the qualified teams, I think that SG Esports is going to not have a great time, mainly because it's a South American team at a major. Nothing against them beyond they don't have from what we've seen, they don't have the same caliber of competitors in South America for them to practice against. SG Esports could be amazing. I saw the footage of them popping off when they won. It was awesome. I'm rooting for them. I hope they prove me wrong, but we've never seen these guys compete at the international level, as far as I'm aware.
I mean, the closest that we've seen to a South American team in a real international level tournament was WESG. And if I recall correctly,
that was actually these guys.
Yeah, it was. They were there, and they did not perform well. And not to say that
they lost to Alliance. I mean,
that's respectable.
Okay, right now that's not that great. Well, but then going back, Infamous is another team that does okay, but every time they make it to international competition, something goes wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, just in general, wait, where are they at WSG?
Both SG and Infamous were there because Infamous lost to Alliance in the next round.
Yeah, they beat MVP Revolution, which I think is Kazakhstani or something.
That's the org that MVP picked up.
Are they Kazakhstani or Kyrgyzstan?
They're a Central Asian stack that MVP picked up. Yeah, good stack too. Don't get me wrong, but
solid. Not necessarily international level, but anyway, we if there was a tournament where you're going to see a South American team make a run, it was going to be WESG, and we saw Cloud9 / X Imperial at the time. That was when they're still pretty fresh as the X Imperial, and they came in first, or they came in second place. First place was TNC.
Yep.
Third place was Alliance. Fourth place was Infamous. And I mean, like I said, if there was a time where a South American team was going to make a run for it, it was going to be there. And Infamous shook out to be the better at that time. And when push came to shove at the for the qualifiers for the Kiev Major, they did not do well, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is that these guys on SG, this team was King Gao +4 before SG picked them up.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys, they've been playing for a while. They've been, grinding. They've been competing, and they don't look awful. I genuinely think that these guys have a whole lot of potential, and I think that Ice Frog / Gaben starting to bring in South America now may actually be the right time. I don't know enough about previous South American events to say maybe they should have brought in last year or before that, but starting to do this CIS versus Europe thing and this North America versus South America thing gives us a greater variety of talent pool, and hopefully we get to see more South American esports.
Generally speaking, you see this kind of expansion into Latin America in a lot of different sports. Not just esports, but more traditional sports as well. And not just into Mexico, because obviously the NFL, for example, has been in a stop-start relationship more or less with Mexico for over a decade now. And they just haven't been able to make it work. But pushing deep into South America, we're seeing a lot of that. And having a team to get behind is important for that.
That's actually that's the thing that's saving Smite. Like
for sure.
I'm gonna get hate for it, but whatever. I'm gonna say it. Latin America and South America are massively getting behind Smite. It's got its issues, but and this year, for this month, there's an upcoming Masters LAN, they're calling it, and they're seeding the winner from Latin America higher than the third place from NA/EU, which pissed off North America and Europe to no end. But they said, look, at Worlds, these guys proved that they do better than our third place here, so they're going to get seeded third, fourth, overall, or fourth, fifth, I guess, technically overall.
Yeah,
and so they're proving that they're growing, and they've had the game for a shorter period of time. And Latin America and South America are saying, look, we're not actually as bad at video games as everybody else likes to pretend that we are.
I don't want it to sound like I'm falling down that rabbit hole of stereotype of the stereotypical Dota 2 player that rages against the quote unquote Mexicans. I'm from Canada. We don't do that. Kind of. I'm kind of from Canada. We don't do that.
But no, point being is that again, we haven't seen.
Yeah, we have not seen a South American team have any. Yeah, and we haven't really seen a South American team in any international tournament have any serious success. The best we've ever seen was infamous at WESG, where they got third place and lost to a not that great, but still okay, but still not that great. I'm trying to balance the saying Alliance is a crappy team, but good enough to win. But yeah, they lost to Alliance. We know where Alliance is at. That's not great. That does not speak well to their ability to perform at the Kiev Major.
Yeah, and again, they could go amazingly. They could pop off and blow everybody out of the water, or I don't see them. And most people don't predict them doing well.
If they have,
where I agree, unfortunately.
If they make a run, it will, in my opinion, be one of. If they make a run to like the top 4, that will be one of the most astounding upset or underdog runs that I've seen in Dota 2.
It'll be that will definitely be. I put that ahead of Odd Phenom. Because AF the guys have had they've been
around for a bit,
competing with all of these teams. They knew what they were getting into. These guys only have film to study. They can't practice against them until they get there.
Yeah,
a couple days ago.
Yeah, they like I said, if they can make a good run, it will be one of the most where did this come from underdog runs. I wouldn't necessarily say in all of esports, but in Dota 2 for sure.
But in Dota 2, yes, but not in all of esports. I can think of a couple better underdog stories in esports as a whole.
Yeah, I can as well, but unfortunately, it would be up there.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see Monday.
We will, and I don't think we're going to see SG esports perform especially well. Sorry, Brazil.
I also think Secret's not going to perform amazingly. They'll probably land a middle-ish, but I predict them going a little low.
I read about MMA. My bread is butter in MMA, so I speak a little bit of Portuguese just off of that, because there's such a sizable Brazilian contingent and fan base, and I love Brazil in terms of what they can do competitively in international type sports, but Dota 2 right now it's not gonna go so well. I would predict.
Yeah, again, SG, we can root for them, but have our expectations tempered. Team Secret, it's an interesting roster. They might be able to do okay, but I don't see them going far. And Virtus Pro, man, I haven't seen them play anything in so long that I just don't. I can't make a prediction on them.
It's tough. It's tough to say where VP is at. Again, they were white hot entering the Boston Major, and did okay at the Boston Major, if I recall correctly. They lost to EG, but in a reasonably competitive series.
Yeah, they have played since the Boston Major. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events total, including 1 show match and the CIS qualifier for Kiev. That's it.
That's not great. Well, theoretically, that's not especially active. I don't know that team. I don't hang out with them. Maybe that'll be a little bit of mentally refreshing them.
That's the only thing that you can that they can hope for, is that this has been refreshing them, because they have some they took 7th to 8th in the CIS qualifiers for DAC.
Yeah,
that's not good.
That's not good. And that was a pretty good field, but not the Kiev Major. That was a solid lineup of competition, but they are capable of performing better than that.
Yep.
But anyway, getting back to the question, the team I kind of feel might make a surprising run is TNC.
They broke my heart too many times.
I think this is the time, though. I think this is the time where they can make a slightly better than the TI6 run, because obviously they had a very strong run at TI6, getting 7th, 8th. Ended up getting bumped, I believe, by Digital Chaos. I think that they can do one better. I think that they can make top 4 at the Kiev Major. Again, it relies on how they get seeded after the group stages. They could get up against OG or whoever ends up winning first round, but I think that if the stars align for them, they're capable of breaking off top 4. I think that group is capable of winning some games. They performed. They got 3rd place at Star Series. They obviously won WSG. That counts for necessarily much, and they've kind of. I believe their roster has shifted a bit since then, but I think that that's a team that's capable of doing some good things.
Yeah. Again, I can't. I love SEA. That's again one of the places where back when Korea was getting its start in Dota, that was one of the things that I fell in love with. I loved Zephyr and all that stuff. It was a good story. But again, I root for SEA, and Faceless breaks my heart, or TNC breaks my heart, or Fnatic breaks my heart. It's like, I can't do it anymore. Breaking this relationship off.
I'm there for the rebound.
You're there for the rebound. I feel like that needs to be the clip of the show is me breaking up with South America or Southeast Asia, and you being.
That's good banter right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would again TNC. I got your back. I'm there for you.
Yep.
I'm there for you guys. Raven. And so, any other thoughts that you have on this event?
Nope. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I'm looking forward to Monday morning.
Yeah, I am. Again, I haven't been. I've been a little bit antsy about really, really good Dota 2. I'm a little bit sad that Team NP is not there, just because not only are they my de facto home team now that I'm in Canada, I also just love everything that they do business-wise. I love how they've given themselves an actual brand, which is something a lot of teams struggle with. So I'm a little bit sad to see them go, but man, I am still damn excited for the Kiev Major.
Yep, I'm just 1 second. I'm checking to see. Okay, so it's 2 a.m. Kiev's really only that far ahead of me. Oh, it's 7 hours. Okay, so Kiev is 7 hours ahead of me. Ew, 4 a.m. No. No.
So yeah, it's gonna be an early morning for you, late nights for me.
Yeah. Ugh.
But
either that or early mornings for you once the main event starts.
Yeah, true. We'll see how it goes. But ultimately, I'll be watching. I'm quite excited for it. And random other question to close this out. This kind of me making up questions to discuss various topics. What region do you think is going to be quote unquote exposed?
China. I think China will be exposed. I think that you've got 4 teams from China. Excuse me, 5 teams from China.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
Wings,
5 teams from China.
J, Newbie, and IGIG.
I don't see all 5 of these teams from China looking as strong as people want to say that they are. Even if you throw out team random, just say ignore them. Okay, fine, whatever. You've got Newbie, VGJ, IG Vitality, and IG. You cannot have all 4 of these teams look amazing. Even if Invictus Gaming does well and people go, see, look, China's good, you're going to have 3 other teams that could place anywhere on that spectrum. And that's going to kind of, in my eyes, put China on notice on the international stage that, sure, they get a lot of invites.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that that region is the best region.
I
understand why Valve does it, not so much because of the quality, but because of the quantity of viewership back home and everything else.
I was about to say, China is where their bread is buttered in Dota 2.
Yeah. Which is funny, considering how hard Tencent tries to kill Dota 2 on a regular basis.
Well, I can't blame them.
Yeah.
But I will also completely disagree with you. I think that we don't necessarily know where again, single elimination, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We could see them pick each other off just like they did at the Boston Major. We had LGD on LGD violence to start off the Boston Major. And we could see that something similar again. We could see IG knock off IG Vitality or vice versa right off the start. And then, random. I was going to say Wings, random, pick off VG Gaming J. And then you get half of them have the Chinese teams getting that nice gone. 16th to 12th place finish check. I think
so. I will give that credit and acknowledge that potentiality.
Yeah, I do think though that even if that happens, even if we see all the Chinese teams pick each other off right at the beginning, I think we're going to see at least one. I would say probably 2 Chinese teams in the top 4. I think we're going to see.
I think we'll see 1 in the top 4, maybe 1 in the top 8. That's my prediction right now. I
think again, OG is going to win it. So this, OG is my pick to win it. So this is going to require some help. Yep. But I think that IG and IG Vitality are both capable of making a run. Newbie, they kind of tend to be hit or miss in Valve events, but I think on the whole, this team is good. This team is good. I think that the combination of the IG.
I think that they'll be the 1 in the top 4, but I don't. Yeah,
I bet for some reason I've kind of attached myself to IG Vitality since the Boston Major.
That's fair. I mean, Paparazzi, Cicada, Super, Dogfights, Cicada. Or in July. I don't hate them, but I can see why you'd attach. But
I'm one of my as a random thing. One of my articles I wrote was like the teams to watch heading into the Boston Major. And the super dark horse team I picked. This is back when they were, before they were on any serious radars. I liked their results following the international, and I was like, they're gonna do something. Felt good about myself when they actually made it to the Boston Major. They didn't do great, but I think that they can do very well here. Same with the IG, like the primary IG team. I think that we're going to see China really cement itself as a very good region, or cement itself as the best region again. Even if they don't necessarily win, I think we're going to see them. The depth is just so crazy there. They have so much depth to how many good teams they have, and I think that they're going to show that again. I think that the team that's going to be exposed, or the region that's going to be exposed, is I'm picking TNC to make a run, but I think that SEA, I think that Faceless, I remember that run at the Boston Major. It's hard to shake off those memories.
I don't think that SEA can be exposed because I don't think SEA has anything to be exposed because we all consistently talk about how weak SEA is.
Yeah.
So therefore, I give them sort of a pass there. I think it's either China or then NA/EU could also be exposed.
Yeah.
EU maybe, but I mean NA is everybody again jokes about NA being bad Dota, but
well, I mean, it's tough to really say. Like the most NA Dota team would probably be Team NP because they actually have a bunch of North American players. EG is quote unquote NA, but they've only got crit.
That's where is I from?
Sweden.
I guess that is true at this point. Yeah.
Yeah,
because you've got Zion Crit from EU. Sumail is American.
Yeah.
And then Artesian Universe.
Former DC/Thunderbirds haven't been a North American team since that Owie, since the days where they had Owie and Bulba and etc. The team that ended up getting chopped up and scattered to Secret and EG back in 2015. No, 2016. Early 2016. But anyway, so I think that I'm liking TNC. I think that Team Faceless, I'm not really feeling them here. Like I said, I think not to say that the Boston Major disqualifies them from forever, but man, that they melted when the pressure was really there, and they were up against some top end teams. They really struggled, and I think I'm thinking that it's going to be like, why did that region get 2 qualifier spots? Kind of thing, you know?
Well, because they didn't get an invite, is why.
I know. But
I agree with you. I get
South America.
I think that I mean,
or not.
I don't know. We'll see. I think that we're going to be getting far too meta and macro if we keep that discussion. That's something more for like TI time frame.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm thinking that China is going to establish itself as the force in Dota 2, and I'm not proud about that necessarily, but I think it's going to happen.
You can keep yours.
Yeah, that's my prediction. I think SEA is going to struggle unless TNC, I think, again, have the tools to make a good run. Also have the tools to wash out early, but have the tools to make a good run. But ultimately, I think that SEA is on some hard times. Might shake itself out, but that loss of MVP Phoenix is hurting. As a whole, if you really count them as Southeast Asia, which is officially the case. But anyway, any other things you want to talk about?
Nope, I think that covers pretty much all of it. Again, I'm looking forward to Kiev, so I've got Kiev on my mind, and we've talked Kiev to death at this point.
Yeah, gonna be fun. We'll probably circle back again next week sometime. Talk about when does the tournament end? It ends on Sunday, the week from Sunday, right?
I think so. Where's the dates? Yeah, end date is the 30th of April, so it's in 10 days from now.
Talk Monday?
Yeah.
The 1st
of May?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, sir, to whoever watches this, come back 1st of May. Around this time, 7 EST, maybe we'll be doing it. So, that was This Week in Dota 2. We'll be here for Last Week in Dota 2 next week. So, next week in Dota 2. So, see ya.